Hey everyone, how we doing here today? We are in your classwork packet. Again, the heading looks a little bit different, but it's still the same. It's still lesson number 18. So let's get that out in front of you here. We're working with our scale factor. All your scale factor is it's your constant. That's it, right? We can still use your equation, but it's certainly not required that's there. So going through this, I'm not a fan of question number one. I'm not a fan of question number two. You do want to look at question number three here, all right? So we're finding the scale factor. And remember, scale factor is the exact same thing as, so your scale factor here, all right, that's just your constant. So if this is my actual, okay, so that's the first person I've met, so that's why it's the x. My scale is always the result, so that's my y. Remember, to figure out your constant, we do y divided by x. Now we got to be a little bit careful with the picture that's there because they're not the exact same. Here in the actual picture, we've got it going all the way across, whereas in this picture, we're only going partially. So if we're talking about a circle, we've got the diameter over here on the left and just the radius over here on the right. So I'm going to find the entire length across. So that would make it another 6, which would make it all the way across a 12. So my x here is my 24. So that's going to go on the bottom. All right. My scale is my y. So that's going to go up in the numerator. 12/24. Well, that's the exact same as 1/2, people. All right. Looks like it went away here. I'll put it right there on the answer plane. It's a half. And let's think about it. It got smaller. So it should be a fraction. Remember, that's going to be a key part of what we're doing here. And in fact, it got cut in half. So again, kind of use those guys as ideas to help you out as to what you're dealing with. Okay, so rulers are going to come into play here now. All right, so that's something you're definitely going to end up needing. I'm going to kind of get you started on the first one. They're saying using a scale factor, create a scale drawing from the actual picture in centimeters. So in your ruler, you are going to be using centimeters. Centimeters use your decimals. Centimeters are out of the, what we call a base 10. So you're going to have numbers like 1.6 or 1.8. So keep that in mind. Centimeters here. All right, we're going to be working with this in class pretty soon. But at the same point, I think it's a good one for you kind of to experiment around with. Your scale factor is 3. So when you think about your equation, it's y equals 3x. And because we've got the picture here, all right, those are all the actual measurements. All those numbers will be your x every time. So you might be thinking, aren't they just going to multiply by 3 every time? I agree with you. All right, so you don't have to write out that y equals 3x every time, but just keep in mind that's how we know we're going to be multiplying by 3. So what you're going to do is you're going to reach for your ruler and you're going to measure. You're going to measure top to bottom that's there. All right. If you do it, you should get something right around 1.7. Now, again, I realize we're using a ruler here, and you might be off by a tenth. You're off by a tenth of a centimeter. No big deal here at all. If you're telling me it's like 2, yeah, that's a big deal. If you're telling me it's only like 1.3, yeah, I think that. So again, if you had a 1.8, a 1.7, 1.6, I think you're good with any of those. So what you've got to do is you've got to get all of your measurements and then you've got to multiply them all by 3 to get your new measurements. So if you take this 1 7/10 and you multiply it by 3, you should end up getting your 2.1. So when you break out your ruler, you're actually going to measure it so it's 2.1. So again, no sketching here. I mean, you should have a crisp, straight line when you're looking at things here. Now, the other thing we have to worry about here is you're going to be able to make your rectangle. All right. Don't draw this out right now because remember, you're going to use actual measurements there. But you just can't guess. So we need to know where that point is at. So to figure that out, you're going to need to measure over, and then you're going to need to measure up. Once you get your conversions, you'll be able to, again, measure over, measure up, and then you'll be able to connect and you'll find exactly what you're dealing with. Like I said, give it a shot, see what you can do with it. Down below in question number 4, they're telling you that they've got a boat that's there. So, all right, I'll draw a boat. All right, with a sail. Hey. All right. They're telling you the measurements are 6 and 8 and a 10. They're telling you scale factor of a fourth, which means a fourth less than 1, it should be getting smaller there. They're telling you here that, ooh, look, 6 inches, 8 inches, 10 inches, which means when you do your drawing, you're going to use inches. All right. So again, your scale that we're going to use, our equation, excuse me, is going to be 1/4 x. But again, remember, these are the original numbers over here. These are the originals. So that's always going to get plugged in for x. So if you're like, am I just multiplying by 1/4 every time? You are. Again, that's what the scale factor does. But again, you are using the inches side. So when you draw it on out, you should get a crisp, clean triangle. All right. Make sure you get your measurements down, and you're going to have fractions that are there. All right. Your inches. It takes 16 little marks to get there. So if you're looking at like a half, all right, that would be the same as 8/16. So you have to go over 8 little marks that are there. Again, give it a shot, see what you can do with it. Like I said, rulers are in play here, so make sure you're bringing them to class each day. All right, you've got them to be used. All right, I'll see you guys.